What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so in this one here, we're going to be taking a look at Wolverine's new uniform. We have his House of X look here. We are still on the APK, so this is the still pre-update version of the game. So standard disclaimer with that is this video is brought to you by Netmarble and the Star Agents program, and also everything you see here can still be subject to change in terms of damage, values, costs, and things like that. So keep that in mind when we're going over Wolverine here. So let's get right into it. So the uniform effect here is going to be 15% increase to all attack, 10% ignore defense, and decrease all damage received by 15%. So the only thing new from this uniform and his X-Force over here, as you can see, is just the all attack boost. Everything else is the same, so he gets the extra 15%. We have 4 skill changes. The first skill here doesn't really appear to have any text changes. The third skill, however, does, so we have 4 seconds of invincibility here, so it is no longer a counterattack skill. So if you remember previously, his third skill on his X-Force uniform was a counterattack, but you also get that increased damage by 100% for one, or no, actually I think it was for 2 attacks, wasn't it? Hold on, let me check. I think it was, might have been 2, where are you? Yeah, for 2 attacks, so the attack itself and also the next attack afterwards. You are missing out on that damage there. But I do like that we now have invincibility instead of the guard hit. So invincibility, of course, is going to be more of a premium option. So that is good. The fourth skill here has no changes in terms of the text that I can see. I think it just is telling you that the skill changes from this base kit, is still the same as like the X-Force one, because I think the skill is still exactly the same as his X-Force uniform. The fifth skill here, we do have a small boost now for Wolverine. So he has a all attack increase by 15%, all speed 1%, and a crit rate boost by 15%, which he did not have before. So let's go ahead and hop into the skill preview and see what these skills look like in terms of animation changes. All right, so we have the first skill here. So it now has an iframe on it, so it's a little bit safer to use, but Wolverine always had great survivability anyway because of his passive healing. The second skill is exactly the same, so that one hasn't changed. But the third skill, yeah, as you can see, now is just a straight damaging attack. You don't have to wait for a counterattack or charge it up or do anything like that. It's just a regular skill now that you can kind of use for the invincibility if you need that. So you can kind of throw it in your rotation for invincibility, and also looks like it's going to do quite a bit of damage as well because it does a decent amount of hits. They tend to do that a lot. Usually the third skill on a lot of characters can actually do significant damage, so his might be one of those. Now the fourth skill, like I said, I don't think there's any changes to the fourth skill. It's just saying that it's retaining its or retaining the same change as the old uniform. Yeah, so it doesn't look any different to me. The fifth skill, ooh, yeah, the fifth skill, we've got a lot more AoE and just a lot more hits in general. Look at that ending part right there. So, yeah. What? You didn't do the ending. Oh, did I hit the wrong skill? Here we go. Yeah, so a lot more hits, and right there is where all your damage is going to come from. Those ending kind of slashes that he makes right there, those are going to be like kind of the bulk of the damage with the skill here. You're going to do good damage here, but I'm saying that, yeah, most of the damage is going to come from right there. A lot of hits, and it just looks like it's going to be just more damage in general. So let's go ahead and, no, not change, go back out here, go back to the uniform, and take a closer look at the uniform options, because I do have him up to legendary, so we can actually see all of the options. It's kind of a grind to get those EXP chips to level up his uniform, though, because we didn't really start with much of anything on the APK here for uniform up, or for uniform EXP. But we have Luna Snow's Andromeda suit for the first option. We have Jean Grey's X-Men Red uniform here. Then we have X-23's X-Force. Down here we have Nebula's Endgame uniform, and then the final option is going to be Hulk's team suit. So yeah, they tend to do that a lot. I've said that quite a few times in these videos, is they like to use the team suit variation, which not a lot of people got the team suit versus just the regular Endgame look. So yeah, so that's what Wolverine's looking like so far. Oh yeah, and one other thing that I did notice, because before recording this, of course, I tested out Wolverine a little bit just to see kind of where his damage stood. So I have good idea of what to tell you guys instead of just hopping in and seeing the damage for the first time here, is his skill rotation was a little harder to keep on track. And I was like, why does my obelisk keep going out of sync when with the X-Force look it was super easy to stay in line with just, you know, a standard damage proc, so without like a rage or greed or something like that. So the reason was, if we go down here to the 5th skill, look at that. They increased the cooldown up to 18 seconds. So yeah, now we have to wait 9 seconds for this thing. Whereas previously, if we go over here, it was only 13 seconds. So yeah, you could do it every kind of damage proc rotation very easily. So yeah, that was just something that I noticed that I didn't really like about the uniform, was just that it was a little bit harder to keep my damage proc on rotation just because of that extra bit of cooldown on the 5th skill. But besides that, the uniform was looking pretty good in terms of the damage. His survivability hasn't really been touched too much. If anything, he's got more survivability because he now has invincibility on the 3rd skill instead of just that guard hit. So that is going to help out quite a bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at his build here, and then we'll hop into a little bit of gameplay to show off his damage. So if we look at the details here, we do have our ignore defense and our skill cooldown maxed out, which is going to be the important stats. Everything else is just kind of average, or actually below average here in the APK because we don't have too many stats to work with. This was kind of the pre-equipped build that I got for Wolverine on the test server here. So these are the Uru that they equipped for him. I didn't really mess around with them or anything like that. I just kind of left it as is. All of his skills are leveled up to max. The ISO 8 set here, we have Hawk's Eye. And then for the CTP in this case, we do have a CTP of energy to try him out with. And his uniform is at legendary, and the X-Force one is at mythic for when we do the comparison here. So let's hop into a little bit of gameplay and show the damage with the new look here. Alright, so the testing that I was doing with Wolverine was on Proxima stage 39 here. I was using Wasp leadership, so we don't have to deal with the Blade Twisters. And then I had Shuri there for her tier 2 passive. And basically what I was doing is I was just loading in, and then for the first minute I was seeing how much damage I can do, and then I was comparing this uniform with this old uniform to see what kind of difference we had in terms of the damage. So let's go ahead and show you what a minute's worth of damage looks like with the uniform here. So hop on over, just go right in here to try to get the proc. So there we go, they got those big slashes at the end, 2nd skill, 3rd skill, into the 4th skill like usual, and then boom, right into the 5th skill. That's the kind of rotation that I use with Wolverine despite either look with the uniform. But as you can see here, with the longer cooldown than a 5th skill, I'm getting a little out of sync here in terms of like being able to use a skill all the time, because that's the rotation that I like to use for Wolverine. It's just right there, 5th skill, let the 5th skill play out, get the damage, go into the 2nd skill, go into the 3rd skill, go into the 4th skill to help proc the 5th skill, and then I just hop right into the 5th skill as soon as he kind of finishes jumping around from the 4th skill. So that's kind of the rotation I like to do, but as you can see, boom, it's getting out of whack quite easily here, just because of that extra 2 seconds of cooldown time on the 5th skill. So we'll try to get one more in here before the minute's up, and not quite. But we're at 11.5 bars here, and if you want to know right away, that is better than his old look. He usually gets only to 12 bars with the X-Force uniform, so he's getting about an extra bar to a bar and a half. This was a little bit better run on average. I was maybe just starting the 11th bar with the uniform right here, so this was actually a little bit better. So I think Proxima might have been standing still a little bit more here for me, because, you know, Proxima moves around quite a bit. So if at the end of the 5th skill here with this new House of X uniform, where he gets that continued big slashes that go across the screen, and that does a bulk of the damage, if she jumps out of that, then you're losing a good portion of your damage. So I think she was standing still a little bit more for me in this one, but on average I was getting to the 11th bar every time. It's just it varied how much I got into the 11th bar. I never got past the 11th bar with this uniform here. And again, with his old look with the X-Force, I was kind of just getting into the 12th bar. So it's about a bar's worth of damage difference in that minute. So I would say on average, that's what, about 20 to 25% more damage or something like that, I want to say. So the damage is definitely better. So that is good. Hopefully that'll make Wolverine a little more viable for kind of like end game content or something. Maybe I could use him a little bit higher of like World Boss Ultimate. Maybe I could use him in a later stage of Shadowland and that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely happy to see that damage boost, but it's a little bit less than I was expecting just based off of the animations from the new House of X uniform. I was expecting the damage to be a lot more because it looked like we're getting like, you know, significantly more hits. Oh, well, we missed our trigger there for the counterattack. So let's go in. Give me that counterattack. There we go. Now let's see what we got. Yeah, so as you can see, the damage is still a lot better with his House of X uniform, which is good. But like I said, it's not as much as I thought it was going to be. But overall, I think I'm satisfied with the change here, because we are getting more damage. We got that invincibility. Was I hoping for more of a buff? Probably, but again, I'm on the test account, so these numbers aren't as significant to me because I don't really have a good reference point to go off of, because the stats and stuff here on the test account are a little wonky compared to my my live account, so I kind of know what to expect on my live account in terms of comparing characters to each other or seeing how much of a boost we're actually getting, because I'm kind of just used to playing the character. We're a little bit slow this time, but I was kind of messing up the rotation, but normally we get into the 12th bar within the minute there. This time we just barely got there, a little bit late, but in general I was getting to the 12th bar in the minute. So as you can see, the damage is poor on this uniform compared to the House of X uniform. Overall, I think I'm gonna have to wait till I get the uniform on my main account to do a little bit better comparison. But yeah, I think the new uniform is going to be an upgrade for him. I think it gives him a decent boost in damage. I was hoping maybe for a little bit more, but Wolverine already has insane survivability, so he's kind of just more of a kind of tank or just like an outlast your kind of opponent type thing, instead of just dishing out like really high damage. So that's just kind of the vibe I'm still getting for Wolverine. So I think he's still going to mainly be a PvP character. So I think you're still going to want to build him defensively. But with this new uniform, you probably can build him offensive and get, you know, a little bit more value out of him, have more fun playing him in higher stages of World Boss Ultimate. But that's just kind of the initial feeling that I'm getting from the uniform here. So yeah, I'm going to have to, like I said, wait till my live account. But overall, I think the uniform is good. I don't think it's like super good, excellent, or like, you know, game changing for Wolverine, but I do think if you play Wolverine, you should be happy with the damage boost here. So yeah, that's just my thoughts. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for Wolverine's uniform, if you think I'm under or over hyping it, selling it, evaluating it, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.